Well, folks, in today's video, we're going to be unboxing an entire collection of HO scale trains I picked up off eBay. I found this lot a couple months ago while I was just browsing around, and everything inside appeared to be in pretty rough condition, but it looked like an interesting lot nonetheless, so I decided to order it up, and today we finally get to see how everything looks. Now, this did come in a reused cardboard box, but I was kind of worried that the labeling would get the video flagged. It's nothing too bad, but I just figured we'd take it out of this container instead. Okay, moment of truth here. I can just tell this is gonna be good. It all looks terrible, but let's dig through and see what sorts of things are in here. So right off the bat, we appear to have an old Tyco transformer. I think this one dates back to the late 70s or early 80s, and some wiring to go with it. Got a boxcar from the Green Bay route. Looks like we've actually got some tin plate. I think it's HO. Sand and gravel, New York Central. Hopefully the rest of that's in there. And we've got a second Tyco transformer. I think this right here is some Lionel O-scale stuff. Seem to have the boiler for some kind of steam locomotive. I think it might be off a Rivarossi. As a matter of fact, it is. The body off a Northwestern Century 430, I think it is. Here's another controller. I think this one's a... Oh no, it's a model power. I was gonna say a Bachmann. Yeah, maybe it's seen better days. Curious to see if that still works. I don't know about all of you, but I find digging through this kind of stuff so much fun. This seems to be some sort of a Tyco truck. Got an Athearn band drive truck. What the heck is this? A multi-control transformer, and it has a circuit breaker, so that's a good thing. Not too sure how much I would actually trust this, but you know, it's kind of cool. I think this is a signal tower of some sort. Everything's a bit bent out of shape, but with a little bit of work with some pliers and a hammer, you could probably get that all back together. It says right here that it's made in Germany. If anybody knows what manufacturer in particular made this, please put it in the comments. I think we're actually starting to get down to some locomotives. I believe that this one right here is a model power. And whoa, not so sure that one's gonna run. And then we've got a vintage steam locomotive, and I mean, this thing is missing quite a few different parts. Majority of the drive is still there, which is good to see. This one right here, I believe, is a Mantua Tyco, and these tend to be pretty tough locomotives. I find that they can really take a licking and just keep on ticking. So hopefully, since we have a lot of the parts here, we'll be able to save this locomotive at some point up the road. Down here, I'm just noticing we seem to have some sort of a drive. And if I'm not mistaken, these would all go together. So that's great. We have all the parts to get this one back together too. We've got another drive system. I think this is off an FP45. The back of the engine is completely gone, and so is the whole motor assembly. Maybe that's somewhere in here, but we'll have to see. And then you've got your beautiful old Spirit of 76. This one has definitely seen better days. You can see it's pretty rough in terms of the paintwork, and the trucks are both missing. Again, hopefully they're in there somewhere. We did find one Tyco truck earlier, so maybe that belongs to this locomotive. Got some parts to what look to be some kind of a bridge. I think this might be one of those Tyco glow-in-the-dark units. I'll set it up by the light and we'll test that in a moment. Got some really weird-looking switch assembly right here. There was probably a building here at some point that this guy would pop out of, and then maybe there was an assembly to flick like a parcel onto a train or something like that. I'm sure it did something interesting at one point or another. Got a Pennsylvania switcher. Of course, the cab had to be damaged because the rest of it seems to be intact. And this one's an old AHM. Hopefully it will be able to start. Oh, good. There's a Tyco power truck. This probably went with the Spirit of 76 locomotive. Got a Baltimore and Ohio locomotive. It's missing its cab, and this, unfortunately, has been damaged pretty bad. And then we've got a Tyco Rock Island locomotive. Really cool paint scheme. Unfortunately, this is also missing its power truck. The back one is intact, though, so that's good to see. I'm sure it's obvious from looking at it, but everything here is just so dusty. Oh, I think this actually belongs to that drive right there. All these locomotives slowly getting pieced back together. Operation Desert Storm. Well, maybe that can give everybody here an idea of when this might have been last used. Got some kind of a shell. I think maybe it was custom painted. Could be an Athearn. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, found more Tyco parts. So I think that for the 2 Tyco locomotives, we have everything we need to hopefully get those running again. I'm starting to think that this was, in fact, the correct drive for the Spirit of 76, just given the age of it. We've got some sort of a steam locomotive. I want to say that this is a Penline locomotive, but I'm not entirely sure. Either way, this is obviously in really rough condition. Looks like somebody actually got paint on the motor right there. And would you looky right here, part of the frame is actually made out of wood. That's interesting. Lots of really beautiful old brass fittings and stuff, though, with some restoration work. This could definitely be quite a gem of a locomotive, in my opinion. I think we have an old River Rossi right here. Possible that boiler belonged to this. I think this is the motor that belonged to that. This looks pretty good, actually. With a little bit of cleaning, I'm sure that would probably run. I suspect this is part of that tower we were looking at earlier. This is interesting. It looks to have been part of some sort of a Shell die-cast tank car. Unfortunately, I think the rest of that is missing, so I don't know if we're going to be able to fix that up. That might have been part of that tank car. Fletcher and White. I haven't heard of that one before. This old die-cast tender. That's pretty awesome there. Another tender. Is this some sort of telegraph thing? Whatever the heck this thing is, I think it's missing parts. But yeah, is this a tap, 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 tap? This would be a really nifty prop for something. Maybe a Halloween display of some sort. Oh, got an old Bachmann. Everybody knows I love these things. Fortunately, the drive rods are doing their Jackie Chan aerobics. But, you know, could be good for parts. They've got another streetcar. This one doesn't look too bad, but it is missing the pole, so that's one thing that would be nice. But yeah, other than that, it's kind of sweet. And here's an old AHM Sea-Liner. I think somebody tried to give this some kind of like a Southern Pacific paint scheme, maybe. It looks pretty rough. It does have a metal knuckle coupler, though, which increases the value by a full $5. And then finally, we've just got this little Marks diesel switcher in blue. I'm quite a big fan of these things. I find they're usually tough as nails. This one feels like it could be kind of seized up, and I mean, you can already see that, you know, spikes are stuck in the drive, which is probably kind of telling as to what might be going on here. But yeah, hopefully that will be able to run. Anyway, we'll take whatever's left of all these locomotives over to the track and see if any of these things will start. I feel like we've got to at least have one runner out of all these different units. Okay, so I've got all the locomotives, or at least whatever's left of them, set up for testing here. I know for a fact that some of these things are not going to be able to pick up power naturally because they're missing so many parts, so we got some leads ready to go for those units. But I guess we'll just start off here with the Marks 4-wheel diesel locomotive. I'm pretty confident that this one is actually going to start, because after we pulled that nail out, it does seem to be turning over, so we'll try giving it some power here, and hopefully it will spring to life. It's probably going to be really loud if it does. It's definitely picking up power. I think those little pesky nails are getting in there. I wonder if this thing is full of more nails. Hey, there we go. Right on. Current draw is pretty bad, so I think I'll stop it there, but for what it is, you know what? I'll call that one a runner. Anyway, the next one we have, I'm a little less sure about. This is definitely going to need some wires to actually start up here. Sometimes you just can't let the looks deceive you. See if it wants to party with that one. Sounded to me like it was doing something for just a second there. It might just be shorted. Let's try the other wire here. Yeah, I guess we're not getting anything out of that one. Next up, we got the old model power. These tend to be pretty tough, and this one does have all-wheel pickup, so even though we're missing some wheels, it might still be able to start. Putting power in the track, and nothing from the lights. So the electrical system is clearly not working on that side. Let's try connecting it up directly here. That to me sounds like a seized locomotive. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing might have been underwater or something like that at some point. And now we've got the old AHM. I managed to get the wheels back in place, so hopefully this thing will be able to start. These are pretty tough engines. So far I'm not seeing anything. Putting 12 volts in the track. Oh! I spoke too soon. Well, it might not be able to run, I think, because it's missing its traction tires. In fact, that wheel looks like it's ready to pop right off. But you know what? It's got a pretty rowdy motor in there. That sounds like it's quite healthy, actually. So I don't think it would take a whole lot of effort to get this thing riding the rails again. It's pretty much already there. And next we've got the Bachmann consolidation. Now, I know this is not going to run for obvious reasons, but we can at least test the motor and see if it will power up. What does everybody think? Motor and lights? Lights? Nothing? Oh, got a light. And we got a motor too, you can hear it. No way. Just get all this junk back into place. Is it going to be able to move momentarily? Okay, so maybe that was too much to ask, but hey, we've got a good motor. Again, could be a good parts unit, or if I'm feeling really ambitious one day, maybe a resto, but I'm really not a fan of working on these first-gen Bachmans for obvious reasons. I got this thing, I'd give this one a 50-50. Gonna have to be kind of creative with how we wire this whole thing up, but let's see here. Okay, so I'm putting power in the track. So far there's no short circuit, but if we just connect something to this, I saw it move. Oh, that is so awesome right there. If this thing had a tender, it would totally be burning around the layout. I think there actually is a tender for it, so we'll have to get that all hooked up. But with a little bit of maintenance, this thing is gonna run well. I mean, it's already running with wheels that look like that, and a drive which probably hasn't been serviced since it left the factory, or at least 40 years ago, who knows. I guess we'll try to test out this thing now. I'm not gonna lie, it looks pretty bad, but let's give it a chance, see if it's at least got a good motor in here. Well, it doesn't even need both wires. I guess power's just coming up through the weight. That's convenient. But yeah, seems like it's running half decent. Smell of ozone is something fierce, I tell you what. Got the little Pennsylvania switcher. Do you think this one will go? Not gonna lie, this one feels pretty light. I wonder if somebody pulled the motor out of it. So, power in the track. So far, nothing's happening. Nothing. Oh, there is a motor in it. That's good. Oh, maybe it does have a bad motor. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I don't think that one's going to run, unfortunately. And finally, we've got the two trolleys, and I think that these are going to start. I think they're going to be a bit rough, but they've got simplicity on their side. So, set this up. I already heard something there. I don't know what's going on with this thing. It was powering up for a second there, and now it's just plain shorted, so that's not good. Let's see if this other one will be any better. Come on, this is my limousine to Broadway. Come on. I know this thing can do it. Well, I'm not gonna lie, it's not running great. Oh yeah, there we go. I think it's starting to pull through. Yeah, my limousine to Broadway lives on. Look at that. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. I certainly had fun unboxing all these old locomotives and testing them out today. It's just so exciting getting to open up a box with a bunch of old locomotives which probably haven't run for 30 or 40 years, set them all up on the track and see what goes. When you're dealing with a lot of engines like this, there's always just that sense like, what's gonna happen, you know? Is it gonna burn up? Is it gonna sit there? Is it actually gonna start running? And this lot definitely did not disappoint in that regard. I know a lot of these locomotives are definitely going to take quite a bit of effort to get them going again, but there is some potential in a few of them, so I think there will be some very fun projects at some point up the road. But until then, I just want to thank you all so much for watching. As for this stuff, which has had a lot of time in the light here, well, it's pretty faint, but it still does glow in the dark. It's like having a little piece of the 80s living in your hand.